1-4 Integers and absolute value. Our objective today is to recognize and order integers and to evaluate absolute value. So what are integers? Integers are the set of positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, and 0. Examples: -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. No fractions, no decimal points. So most of us are used to seeing them on a number line. To the right of the 0 is considered positive, to the left of 0 is considered negative. 0 is also called the origin, the starting point. So let's graph the set of numbers on the number line, then order the numbers from least to greatest. So for A, that's going to be -3, so find -3, we'll put A there. Would you please do the rest? I'll give you a moment, pause the video, and go ahead and do that. Okay, so find -2, that's going to be to the right of B. C is a +5, so that's going to be way to the right. Then we have D is 3, so we're going to go back to the left here. E is -4, so we'll go over to the far left. And then F is 0, which is also known as the origin. So the order then of these from least to greatest would be -4, -3, -2, 0, 3, and 5. That's ordered from least to greatest. So would you please place these integers in order from smallest to greatest? Pause the video and put them in order, then come back and check and make sure you got it right when you're done. Okay, so for number 2, it looks like we have -61, and I like to cross them out just so I don't mess up. Then -16, -10, -6, and 61. For number 3, let's see, it looks like our smallest number is -43, then -34, -31, -3. The closer we get to 0, the bigger the number. Oh, I forgot 13. Now, absolute value, people tend to get a little confused on this. This is not the opposite. Absolute value means the distance a given number is from 0 on the number line. So how far is that number from 0? Sometimes it'll be the opposite, sometimes it'll be the same number. So if I was talking about 3 here, the absolute value of 3, how far is 3 from 0? It's 3. Look down below that where we have the absolute value of -4. Find -4 on the number line. How far is -4 from 0? It's 4. Number 3, 11. How far is 11 from 0? It's 11. Number 4, the absolute value of -8. How far is -8 from 0? It's 8. Number 5, what is the absolute value of -19? How far is -19 from 0? It's 19. 6, absolute value of 0. What is the absolute value of 0? How far is 0 from 0? 0. So that's absolute value. Again, it's how far it is from 0. It's not the opposite. So let's compare them. I keep saying it's not the opposite. What are the opposites? So the opposite of 7 would be -7. The absolute value of 7 would be +7. So what's the opposite of -16? Hopefully you're writing 16. What is the absolute value of -16? Well, how far is -16 from 0? 16 spots. A +33. What is the opposite of +33? That would be a -33. If we do the absolute value of +33, how far is it from 0? It's 33. Opposite of 0 is 0. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Just want to remind you about inequalities because people get mixed up on which one's which. The inequality sign points to the smaller number. So negative 10 is less than negative 5, or 10 is greater than 5. Remember, if it's pointing to the left, it's less than. Look at the sides. The left side is smaller than the right side, less than the right side. The greater than sign means greater than. The left side of that, the open part, is bigger than the squished part. So it's greater than. Would you go ahead and compare these numbers? I want you to put in greater than, less than. So we have 4 and negative 3. Remember, larger, smaller. So positives are always bigger than negatives. So 4 is greater than negative 3. Down below that, absolute value of negative 9 is 9. Distance from 0. 9 is equal to 9. I have negative 6 and absolute value of 6. Absolute value of 6 is 6. A negative is always smaller than a positive, so that's less than. Number 4, negative 2, negative 6. The farther it is from 0 when it's a negative, the smaller it is. So negative 2 is bigger than negative 6. Or the farther to the right the number is, the bigger it is. What you do, if you haven't already done so, would you do the other 4 problems? And let's see if you get the same answer as I do. So for number 5, the left side stays the same. Now the right side's a little tricky. You have the absolute value of negative 8. That would be 8, but then that negative on the outside says take the opposite. So we're going to end up with negative 8, which makes them equal to each other. Number 6, absolute value of negative 4 is 4. Absolute value of 2 is 2, but then there's a negative on the outside, so that gets stuck on there, attached, and we get negative 2. A positive is always bigger than a negative. Absolute value of 6, 6. Absolute value of negative 8, 8. 6 is less than 8. Number 8, absolute value of negative 3 is 3, but then we have a negative on the outside, so that gives us negative 3 compared to negative 2. Less than. Go ahead and watch this video.
Behold the remote control. But where did it come from? Meet Robert Adler, born in Vienna in 1913. By the time Robert Adler was 24, he'd already graduated from the University of Vienna with a PhD in physics. The young genius soon found work with the Zenith Radio Corporation, where he conducted wartime research on military communications equipment. After the war, Adler took his expertise into the civilian world and focused on television. He created several important innovations, but his most important invention is undoubtedly the remote control. Zenith had tried to make remote controls before, but their first attempts were awkward, inconvenient, and prone to malfunction. Adler's remote used ultrasound to control the television. This remote control was much more convenient than earlier remotes. It didn't need a cord or photocells. It didn't even need batteries. Consumers loved the TV remote, and soon it became a standard part of every TV set. By the 1980s, almost 10 million had been sold.
So how genius is this inventor?
On the American Dream scale, he gets a 5. Adler's success propelled him to the top of the business world. He eventually became vice president of Zenith and made a ton of money on royalties. On the benefit to humanity scale, he gets a 2. While remote controls may be more convenient for viewers, Adler will always be remembered as the man who glued them to the couch. On the ripple effect scale, he gets a 4. Remote control systems are everywhere, and the technology originally designed for television has spread to nearly every electronic device on the planet.
Okay, that's the end.